What if I told you that there may be another way to decarbonize the transportation industry without going to a pure electric or even a fuel cell? Sound far-fetched? The technology is called electrofuels, and while it's been around a long time, the processes involved had not been commercially feasible until recently. Amazon's Climate Pledge Fund recently announced an investment in a company called Infinium that plans to do just that. Now, seems like we've been going off into the weeds a lot during this episode, but we're going to go one more time. So let me start by explaining what an electrofuel is, and then further what we're talking about, a carbon neutral fuel. Now, an electric fuel, which is a synthetic fuel, is an emerging class of carbon neutral drop-in replacement fuels that are made by storing electrical energy from renewable sources in the chemical bonds of a liquid or gas fuel. The primary targets are butanol, biodiesel, and hydrogen, but include other alcohols and carbon-containing gases such as methane and butane, and what this section doesn't say, carbon dioxide. Imagine this for a minute, Chase. You can take a greenhouse gas like carbon dioxide, mix it with hydrogen that is produced cleanly from renewable sources using green electricity, renewable electricity to develop the hydrogen, combine that and make either a diesel fuel or an aviation fuel, and not take 1 ounce of crude oil from the ground. And in fact, because you're using carbon dioxide, you're taking a greenhouse gas out of the air, making the air cleaner and saving the planet.
This is the kind of stuff we need.
This is a thing. Now, what do they mean by a drop-in fuel? In case you heard that, it means that these fuels are good enough as a diesel fuel, as an aviation fuel, to put right in the tank with no other modifications. That you don't have to modify the motor, you don't have to modify the fuel system, you don't have to modify the ignition system, nothing. They will run as is with no changes, no investment. Today. I'm letting that sink in because I thought it was so cool.
Yeah, I mean, how far is Amazon along with this stuff? I mean, I'm seeing their vans up and down everywhere, and it even says in this article that transportation is 1/4 of all greenhouse gas emissions. Mm-hmm. I know it takes time, but I mean, Amazon's like, hey, we're giving lots of money for something that we're absolutely contributing to, and I know they have plans to go. They have plans to go net zero emission or carbon free.
I got a word for you.
Let's go,
Rivian.
Let's go,
Rivian.
Let's go,
Rivian.
Faster.
Rivian.
We're not on pace right now.
They've already shown the truck. It's already probably going to production. 100,000 pure electric trucks will come out of their plant in Normal, Illinois in the next year.
Good.
For the next 5 years.
I wonder what their plan is for their vans driving around.
Well, replace them with these.
Please do.
All I'm saying is investment takes time. And what most people don't understand, the transportation industry, whether you're building heavy-duty trucks or cars or whatever you're building, is a long lead time, capital-intensive business.
Yep.
It takes time to do it right.
If anybody's got capital, it's Jeff Bezos.
He just stepped down, by the way.
Yeah, because he's tired of getting grilled in front of Congress.
Well, you know.
Enjoy your vacation, Jeff.
Yeah, well, with the kind of money he's got, I don't think it'd be a problem.
Enjoy your 10,000-year clock.
But the thing is, Amazon is smart enough to do what an investor would normally do. Spread your bets.
Yeah.
You take a lot of promising technologies, knowing that some of them will develop at different rates. There may be synergies between them. Maybe. Sometimes there is. Sometimes there isn't. Somebody's got to spend that money.
Yeah.
The technological advances that we enjoy today did not happen in a year.
No.
Some took 5, 10, 20 years. I mean, we just talked about a couple of segments ago about General Motors. And they've been dabbling for 50, 60 years that I know of in various technologies.
And it often takes a little push from the government, regulations.
It does, but it also takes money and time.
Yep.
Because a push alone without the engineering, without the development, doesn't work.
How much time do you think we got to do this, Ken?
Probably none, but you know what?
We have to. Yeah, we have to. Got to do it somehow.
But it's happening.
Yep.
And that's the problem. It will never be as fast as you want it to be.
No, of course not.
But the fact
I just hope
that
it's fast enough.
It's happening now.
Yeah.
Which 10 years ago, I mean,
I agree.
Look
I
at
agree.
just EV.
We're finally making progress.
Look
I agree.
at just EV batteries in the last 10 years and how far they've fallen. You couldn't have asked anybody 10 years ago that an EV battery in a vehicle would even be practical, competitive with fossil fuels, that there would be a infrastructure being built to support it.
Yeah.
I mean, near my house, and it's something I realized just recently, I'm within 3 miles of a battery of Tesla superchargers.
Wait, a battery. Oh, what do you mean? Like a charging station?
Yes.
Okay.
A group of Tesla superchargers.
Yeah.
Did not realize
Where's
that.
it at?
It's actually at a convenience store near the interstate, about 3 miles north of my house, and I pass it every day.
I was asking if one was kind of close. That's interesting.
I did not know that. Yeah. Well, and again, I don't know if those are compatible with other cars.
I was just going to ask that.
That I don't know. I think they were going to make them that way. Not sure. But getting back to Infinium, this kills me. They're taking aim at the most difficult parts of transportation that are very hard to decarbonize.
Yeah,
and that is
planes. Right?
Planes, because fuel cells not going to work.
Yep.
And certainly heavy battery, battery power is not going to work. Mm-hmm. But this will. And long-haul trucking, aviation, and cargo ships. And the fact that they can make a synthetic fuel and pull carbon dioxide out of the air.
So we need...
I mean, that's what we're talking about. Who needs carbon, what do they call it? Sequestration, where they're putting it in the ground and taking it out of the air. You don't need it. This will do it because it's pulling it out of the air to make fuel.
Yeah.
And guess what? With hardly any carbon residue, which means no pollution.
Yeah.
That's the part that I'm loving. And trust me, for Amazon to put money into it, had to show promise, and they're not the only ones. Now, they say that the ultimate output is a net zero carbon fuel that can be used to power jets and trucks. Green hydrogen is the key for electrofuels to be environmentally friendly. And what they're looking at is Infinium plans to lower costs by building its plants at or near renewable power sources in remote locations. For instance, where production is cheap, but where transmission to market might be difficult. Gee, I know some wind farms in Iowa that would totally work. And can you imagine? That's a whole new industry with a whole lot more jobs and more money for the economy.
Absolutely. I don't think we can say that enough.
I mean, can you imagine? You could build up whole industries that are using green power at the source, which you don't need a grid for, because you don't have to build an expensive grid, and co-locate just like back in the days when towns were created next to waters and waterfalls because they wanted the energy of the falls to, turn their wheels.
Yeah.
Same difference here. Only now the wheel is the wind farms or the solar farms.
Yeah, it's exciting.
Clean energy, pulling carbon dioxide out of the air to make a synthetic fuel that doesn't pollute and does not cost a dime in retrofitting.
Yep.
Not 1 red cent. And that, my friend, is, again, bottom line's the money. This becomes attractive as a third way.
This is Roadworthy Drive.